If you've ever, and I mean ever, have had a moment in your life where you've been hurt and it's caused you to step out of your purpose, it's caused you to step out of what you're trying to do in life, then sit back, relax, and let's join today in the conversation because this is going to be the show for you. And here's the thing, guys. I just want to welcome all you guys. My name is Jim Burgoon. I am the everyday leader. That we go live every single Friday, guys. Every Friday we're live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm grateful for all you guys who hang out with me or even just watch the replays. So grateful each and every one of you guys. And we're going to actually be answering questions live. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. And as I see them, if I get a chance to answer them, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to make sure we answer your questions because I want to hit you guys. Because remember, this is for you. This is for you. This show is devoted to leadership development for everyday leaders like you. And so we want to make sure we get some itches. We make sure we get those things done and get you what you need. So welcome, 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 all my friends. Let me say welcome to you guys. Brian Burgess, welcome. And anytime you see these guys come up, welcome Ace. And then, of course, my brother, welcome as well. How's it going? It is so going good and glad to be here as well. Yo, today we've got a great conversation piece for you guys. And today we're actually going to talk about overcoming leadership hurts. Overcoming leadership hurts. Guys, have you ever really been hurt before? Like, hit me up in the comments. Have you ever been hurt before? Has that been something that you've been through, or am I the only one? Am I the only one that's ever done that? Like, seriously, have you ever been hurt? Have you ever struggled with hurt? What is the level of that hurt? Was it like church hurt? Was it like relationship hurt? What was it? Like, what was the hurt that you struggled with? And let's just be real. Let's be honest. And I want you to be able to have this conversation. And look, hey, let me say this as a side note. I found a new button. I can actually put you guys in the chat now. Like, it'll actually show up as you come up. There's a little bit of delay, but look, I find new buttons all the time. So I'll be showing that up every now and then. But listen, guys, I want to tell you, there has been times in my life where I have been hurt by church. I've been hurt by people. I've been rejected. I've been through a lot of stuff over the course of my life. If you know anything about my story, you know that my wife and I have been through a lot, guys. My wife is diagnosed with some illnesses. I've got some stuff that I go through, and we've just been through one thing or another over the course of our lives. And we've been together for over 20 years. And, you know, by the grace of God, we are still growing and still doing those things. But here's the thing. We have to deal with hurt, guys. We have to deal with the hurt that people cause us. And we've got to get to this place where you and I are so what's the word I'm looking for? We're at a place to where we're effective leaders, because leaders deal with the pain. Leaders deal with the hurt. Leaders deal with the things that come against them. And if you're not dealing with it, you're only going to hurt somebody, because here's the bottom line. Hurting people hurt people, right? I know some of you guys have heard that. So if you're carrying a bunch of hurt, then you're going to wind up hurting someone. And I know it's not going to be something that you are like, this is what I want to do. I want to go out and hurt people. No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. What we understand is that if I'm damaged on the inside, if I've got pain on the inside that I've never dealt with, that's got to come out somewhere. And oftentimes, if somebody hurts you in one area of life, you begin to show it in another area of life. So if you had ministry hurts, like some of you guys over here are saying ministry hurt, if you had ministry hurt, you may carry that and be like, well, I don't want to deal with it publicly. So then I've got to go home and I'm going to accidentally take it out on my wife or take it out on my husband or whoever you're married to, right? Or maybe somebody at home has got to a place where you're like, hey, I've got this hurt from home, and you bring it to work with you. Have you ever worked with people like that who just constantly bring their pain with them? And we want to be able to get to a place where we resolve it. And I like what Brian just said over there in the comments. What you don't resolve will revolve, right? And it keeps coming back over and over and over. And there's so much truth to that. So here's the thing. When we get into these places, guys, let's hit the buttons. I like the buttons. See, look, we got screens on screens inside screens, man. I love Restream. And if you're not using Restream, man, I've got a link in my bio here that you can get a free copy, stream 30 different places all over the web. And this is Restream, and this is who sponsors me. So here we go. Are you feeling hurt? And these are the main places we honestly feel hurt a lot. Do we feel rejected? Do we feel abandoned? Do you feel manipulated by people? Has there been times where you've been ignored? Has there been times where you feel neglected, right? And these are the places where we find some of the most hurt. Now I'm going to tell you, and when the rejection thing is a huge piece. Many people are afraid of rejection because they've been rejected over and over in their life. They don't like to be criticized. So we throw out weird things like, oh, you can't judge me. And if you're a Christian, you say, the Bible says don't judge. We take things so far out of context because we're like, you can't judge me. Because why do we say that? Because I'm afraid of what may come next. I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm afraid of being in a place where I have to deal with the raw emotion of your pain and what it's causing in me and the pain that I've got to deal with, right? And we've got to get to a place, guys, where you and I are going to be able to deal with the massiveness of this. We're going to deal with the struggle that we're all facing. And there's going to be this times, guys, where you don't want to deal with it. And we do have that space. You have to have grace. Sometimes you need to process. Some of you guys are incredible processors, right? You want to process things and you want to do things. That's okay. But don't leave things alone. Don't leave things to a place where you are not dealing with it, because it's going to overflow somewhere. It's going to overflow. See, and if you know me, hashtag wisdom bombs on my Facebook, every time we do that, here's my wisdom bomb for the day for you guys. Guess what? What is the most important thing in your life is what happens next. It's what happens next, guys. It's not what's going to happen now. It's what happens next. This is the most important thing that you and I have got to realize. It's not about what you're doing. It's about where you're going. It's about who you're becoming. And you get the opportunity here. Listen, I want to do something. Turn me off. Now it turned me back on. Look at that. This is where it comes into. And I want you to lean in, just you and I for 1 second. And guys, you're going to be hurt. You get an opportunity to react or to respond. There's no other way. You either react or you respond. And those who react end up hurting more people, or they end up digging deeper holes. But if we learn how to properly respond to the things, if we learn how to get out there and as leaders, as mature individuals, rise up and do the steps I'm about to show you, then you can actually take this and get them to a healthy place. And when you're in a healthy place, guess what? If hurting people hurt people, then loved people love people, right? Just let that sink in for 1 second. If hurting people hurt people, then loved people love people. And I want you to get that. And we've got to have a mindset shift. We have to have a paradigm shift. We have to have this place where you don't want to focus on the hurt, right? Where you focus grows. Understand that. What you focus on grows. So if I begin to focus on healing, if I begin to focus on love, if I begin to focus on the things that matter, then that's what's going to grow in my life. That's what's going to be the thing that defines my life, right? So let's jump into this. You ready? If you're ready, do me a favor. Hit number 1 in the comments, or even say, yeah, shout it out. Like say, I'm ready. Let's do this. Hit it in the comments for me. Let's get this going. And I'm going to just take a hot second, turn off the chat for 1 minute and just greet some people before I go into the first thing. Hello, my brother, Rick. Good to see you. Sometimes I respond by walking the other way. Sometimes that is okay. Kai, Mr. Burgoon, I remember you, Kai. You were a guy that I could never forget, my friend. Thanks for joining the show with us. Shane, my brother from church. Oh, man, fire. Boop, boop. Love it, dude. We got Alexandria. Alex, good to see you. Hello. We got my brother, Shane Wise again. This happens when you get hurt to the point where you remove all emotions, thus removing the ability to love, as scripture suggests we do. There are times, and we're going to get into that a little deeper. So as we go forward, guys, love it. I want to say a shout out to Alan Watts. Go for it. Love it, man. All right. So since you're all ready, here we go. If we're all ready, we're going to go into the first of five, count them, 5 strategies to overcome hurt. I'm going to give you 5. And here's the thing. Of these 5, if you just do 1, where's the camera? There it goes. If you just do 1, then you will be better than most people who just want to learn something. Because you can get out there and sit in these things, take your notes, and have the greatest education in the world. Believe me, I've got 20 years of leadership experience, a master's degree in it, and I'm certified, right? A certified leadership coach. If you want to learn, get your pencil and then get it out there and write these down, right? But if you want transformation, if you want life change, I challenge you to take one of these things, one, and get them in your life today. I don't care which one you choose. I don't care which one you pick, but just take one of them and say, you know what? This is the one that speaks the most to me. And I'm going to apply this today, because one thing applied is better than 4,000 things known. We have too many people who are too smart for their own good, and there's no life change in their life because they're never doing the things they're learning. So let's stop being professional students and start actually be action takers and learn and then grow and then actually take the thing and do the thing, right? Apply it in your life. That's where life transformation happens. So number one, prioritize you. This is the first thing I want to tell you. It's about prioritizing you guys, right? Now let's be honest, and you can share this in the comments. Let's be honest. How many of you guys prioritize other people's wants and needs above yours? And I'm going to tell you, pastor, you're probably one of the worst offenders. As a pastor, as a former pastor, pastors tend to prioritize everybody else's life, and they leave them for last if they ever even get to themselves at all. Dad, I'm going to talk to you dads for a second too. You, my friend, are just as much as the pastor. Guess what? Because you're navigating your kids, you're navigating your family, you're navigating your business, and your idea is to work, provide, and get back to a place where you're able to provide and give that life, right? But do you ever prioritize you, where you take your time, you get there and say, you know what, in my priority, I'm going to work through my hurt. I'm going to be able to get to a place where I'm going to get healthy, because I'm going to tell you, as a healthy leader, as a healthy father, as a healthy pastor, as a minister, as a mother, the only way you're really going to be successful and fruitful in life is if your axe is sharpened. You cannot cut down trees with a dull axe. It takes too long and it's too painful. But if you sharpen your axe by getting out there and dealing with this, getting self-awareness, guess what? And you prioritize you, the healthier you become, the healthier you'll help other people be, right? And here's the key to this. Here's the key. The key is that move out of the influence from others, right? Move out of their influence and step into your power, right? Step into your power, guys. Because here's the deal. I want to tell you this, guys. This is what really gets me. This gets me every single time. We get to a place where we actually give our power away. We get to the place where we give our power away. So I'm trying to actually flip it to where it's the bottom screen. Well, we'll leave that there. So here's the deal. So we give our power away to others, right? We say, here, and we give it, and then we wonder why we're rejected. We wonder why we're upset. We wonder why we have no boundaries. We wonder why all of this is because we give our power away, because we'd rather be under the influence and people please, because guess what? We don't prioritize us, right? But if I prioritize me, I'm saying my boundaries are going to be strong. I'm going to be able to actually get out there and enforce my boundaries so that I can actually have a healthy life. And a healthy life is going to reproduce. And what you reproduce begins to become more healthy. And as you become more healthy, you become more successful. So if you really want to be successful in life, then you've got to get to a place of health. You've got to deal with the hurt. And if you're prioritizing everyone else but you, then guess what? You're never going to deal with the hurt, because if I don't prioritize my pain, if I don't prioritize my healing, and I prioritize everybody else's above my healing, then I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to find excuses on why I don't need to deal with it. And I'm just going to keep moving on, right? And I'm going to ignore it. Guys are worse. Guys are the most terrible offenders of this. If we don't feel it, or if we can ignore it, we're going to. And if we ignore it long enough, then you're going to get it out of our lives. I'm going to tell you that's not the truth. What's the truth is that distance does not create healing. It only creates deeper wounds. Distance does not create healing. It just puts space between your wound and you, but it always tends to come back up every single time that you are not ready for it, right? So let's get some questions here after we do this. So Rick said, you have to be the doers of the word and not just hearers. Absolutely. Got that going for it, bud. What's this one? This Shane, doesn't that fall under servant leadership? It absolutely does, but there's a difference between servant leadership. And I like this question, Shane. There's a difference between being a servant leader and then being somebody who is just going to be a doormat. Okay. We have confused doormat leadership with servant leadership. Servant leadership doesn't mean I'm a doormat. It means I have strong boundaries. It means I'm focused on health. I'm focused on my health, because if you truly want to serve others, and you have to lead them where you can't lead them where you haven't been. So if you're trying to get your team healthy, if you're trying to get your whatever healthy, and you've never been to a place of health, then you're not going to take them there. It's not going to happen. So you've got to lead them where you've been. So servant leadership is about leading where you've been and serving them by helping them get transformation. If you're a doormat, it doesn't work. It just does not work that way. Let's go in here. So here's the thing. If you don't take care of yourself first, how can you take care of anybody else? Absolutely, Sean, my brother. And I want to say this, shout out to Sean. It is his birthday today. One of my buddies, former guy who I pastored for a long time, still pastor, I guess, in a way. And here's the deal. Happy birthday, Sean. Want to shout that out. Brian here. I love Brian. Brian's been a lifelong friend of mine. If you don't know him, get to know him, follow his channel. Either you'll make time for your wellness, or you'll be forced to take time for your illness. I love it. Exactly. And see, this show is all about you guys, and I love having you guys interact. Knowledge is potential. Power, applied knowledge is power. Yeah, my gosh, that is so good. And then here's my friend Michelle. Yeah, all my friends, guys. Too often we don't know how to set boundaries, or are afraid to. Absolutely. And I'm going to say one thing before we go into the next, the number 2 ways of how to overcome hurt is thing is what you just said, Michelle, is super important. Let me put that back up on the screen for a second. And everything everybody's saying is amazing. So thank you guys, and keep them coming. And I'll put the stream back up in a minute. We're afraid to. I want to hit that point for a second. We're afraid to focus on us. We're afraid to actually be healthy because guess what? We've spent so long being broken that we don't know what it feels like to be healthy. So we'd rather be broken because we know that feeling. But what if I told you being healthy would set your life completely on a different trajectory, and you'd actually accomplish the things that you really envisioned to accomplish, but you're not accomplishing them because you're too afraid to actually step into that level of health. Health produces success. If you're not healthy, you can't produce success because you're not going to be able to carry it. You're going to self-sabotage every single time. So that's a great thought. Thank you for bringing that up. So here's number 2. Let's go with number 2. Build back strategy today. Build back strategy. Build back starting today. Build back starting today, guys. That's the number 2 thing on, if you've been hurt, 5 strategies on how to overcome your hurt. Thank you guys. For you guys who are new with us, just joining, hit me up in the comments. But here you go. Build back starting today. You can't change what happened. You can't go back and say, hey, don't hurt me, right? You can't do that. What happened yesterday is done. You can't change that. You can change how you respond to it. Listen, you can't moving forward looking in the rearview mirror. At some point, you're going to crash. All you can do is say, today is my day. Yesterday is gone. Whatever was yesterday is yesterday, and that's where it's going to stay. But today is my day, because I can navigate today and move into my future and actually create the future I want, as long as I make the decisions today that's going to open up those doors. If I sit there and say, hey, I'm going to live in Johnny and how he hurt me and said mean things to me 5 years ago, then all you'll ever be is just this person who spews, oh, Johnny hurt me 5 years ago, that's why I'm a victim. No, stop with the victim mentality. You cannot do that life, because that life doesn't serve you. If it doesn't serve you, get rid of it. Jettison it. Throw it away. If it doesn't serve you, get rid of it. And I can't stress this enough. If it doesn't serve you, goodbye. Punt it, whatever you need to do. Because at the end of the day, all you and I can do is move forward. That's it. That's responding correctly. If we're always reacting, we're always going to be a reactor, and a reactor that reacts too much is going to explode. So you get the choice. Do you want to be a reactor who's going to explode, or do you want to be a responder who's going to bring health and healing to others because you're getting health and healing in yourself? You get the choice. It's just like this, guys. Here, pop, flash thing, boom. I wish I had a sound thing, because I'd be like, boop, 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 boop. I'm going to get a sound thing for next show. I'm going to get a sound thing. Guess what? You get to choose whether you're offended or not. It is your choice. And I'm going to put that up on the screen because I can do that while I'm live. I love this thing, because here's the deal. It is your choice. Offense is a choice. You get to choose why or when you're offended, or how you're offended, or if you're offended at all. And the mature leader decides, I don't need to be offended. I don't need to get in there and be like, you know what, you hurt my feelings. No, the mature leader knows how to respond properly because they know that what you have to say is not going to affect my future. What you have to say may be important and I want to listen and help and grow with you, but it doesn't affect my future because I'm not a doormat. And what you say, and I'm not a people pleaser. So what you say is not going to destroy me. And I think for far too long, we've let what people say destroy us. That's why people live in the past, is because somebody destroyed you because they said mean things about you or they did something mean to you. And it absolutely destroys you because you put too much emphasis on what they said and not enough emphasis on who you are. And if we shift and flip the script and say, you know what, I'm going to get in there. And point number one was prioritize yourself. And point number two is I'm going to start building today. If I prioritize myself and start building today, that means every day from here on out, I'm going to build the life of my dreams, the life that God has put in my heart. And I'm not going to be at a place where I'm going to live hostage to anybody else. There you go. Bomb. Let's see some of these comments. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So here goes. Too often we don't know how to set boundaries. Oh, we saw it. We read that one. Well, Michelle, you got the repeat. There you go. So here's what my buddy Shane says. I think setting boundaries needs to be discussed and agreed to, or we create a disconnect within the boundaries. I'm going to hit that point for a second. Not giving the relationship an opportunity for redevelopment does this make sense? Absolutely makes sense. And I will tell you this, and this is going to be the short version of this, is you're going to have boundaries in your life that people can't cross and you have to make them. And then if you're in a relationship, you're going to have joint boundaries, right? I don't let people say things to me at a level that I wouldn't even let my mother say to me, right? Or my wife. If that's true, you ain't saying it to me, right? And there are things like nobody can lay hands on me. That's a boundary of mine. I don't care if who you are, you can't lay hands on me. That's a boundary I'm making and I will enforce that. Do not touch me, right? Unless you have permission. I'm a hugger. So everybody gets permission to hug, right? But if you want to do something like accost me or be aggressive, that's a boundary. You don't touch me like that, right? That I don't need anybody's permission to make that boundary. I just say, you know what? That's not how we roll. Now there are relationship boundaries me and my wife have that if our heated negotiation between each other gets a little too heated, we could say, hey, let's take a break. And we're at that moment, we stop and we're no longer going to talk and we set a time on when we come back. That's a boundary we agreed upon, right? So you have to have both. So understand you do have to have both. So here's the thing. So my buddy Alan, no learning and taking offense. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. Sean, good. Let's see what Sean says. Sometimes we need to learn when to respond, discern if the best response is no response. Man, so much wisdom. The birthday guy has the wisdom, man. I love it. And then, of course, leadership with Mike. This is another friend of mine. If you don't know him, go follow his channel. 100%. We're all in this together. Let's jump into number 3. Hey, guys, are you finding value in this? If you're finding value in this, let me reset this real quick and just say, hey, for you guys who are new on the stream and with me, I'm Jim, the Everyday Leader. And guess what? I do this every week at 5 p.m. Every single week, 5 p.m. without fail, unless, act of God happens. But every week, 5 p.m., Friday night at 5, so everybody can remember it. And guess what? We cover leadership topics where you get to get answered. Yeah, I just tripped up to my tongue. You see why these live streams are so much fun? Because sometimes you just trip over things. But we do this every week, guys. And if you do me a favor, if you'll go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit like, notifications if you're over here on YouTube. If you're not over there on YouTube and you're over there on my buddies on Facebook, can you share this post, man? Let people just know what's happening and invite them over here to do the same. And guys, every week what we do is I want to develop leaders. I want to develop leaders worth following. Right? I'm talking about you, ministry leader, father, mother, business owner, entrepreneur, you guys who are the everyday leaders. I do this for you because I want to pour life into you. This is why we do this every week. And I'm so grateful for you to be with us. So here's what we go in. We're going to jump into number 3. Stop making excuses. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm going to step on people's toes because I like stepping on people's toes, and I'm going to say mean things. So we just preference this with the fact is I said, you get to choose whether you take an offense or something, right? Your excuses are stupid. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Your excuses are stupid anyway. So why are we making excuses that really are just dumb? My excuses are stupid. My excuses are stupid. Your excuses are stupid, right? And if we're holding on to past hurt and we're making excuses for it, they're dumb. They're completely dumb, because no excuse that you have is going to give you enough permission to live as a victim. There isn't one. So you either get to be a victim or a victor. You choose how you move forward. You could be in the place where it's, oh, woe is me, everybody hurt my feelings, or you know what? In spite of people hurting my feelings, I'm going to use that as fuel to build my destiny. I'm going to use it as fuel to build my life. You know what I mean? So here's the deal, guys. You get to choose that. So stop making excuses on why you can't. Why can't you start your live stream? Why can't you launch that book? Why can't you launch that business? Why can't you get out there and get into a place where you're doing the thing God has called you to do? You're doing the thing that you have put in your heart, that this is the thing you're going to change people's lives with. Stop making excuses. Launch the thing. Get out there. Well, what if nobody buys from me? Well, what if everybody buys from me? Well, I don't know if I'm good enough. Well, find somebody who is and work with them. I don't know if I'm smart enough. Who cares? Read a book, right? Let's get out there and do the thing. People are waiting for you to show up. They're not waiting for the victim of you to show up. They're waiting for the powerful you who is working through their hurt. Listen, this is not one of those things where you suddenly get over hurt. Some hurt is so deep, it may take a while to get over. And we recognize that. But you start today by saying, I'm done with the excuses. I'm no longer living in the past, and I'm going to move forward. You start with the decision, and then everything else you do moving forward is based on that decision. But you cannot move forward if you haven't made the decision. If you have not made the decision to stop being a victim, then you are not going to move forward regardless of what you think or feel, right? And here's the key. They hurt you. That doesn't mean you give up. Man, they hurt you, right? That doesn't mean you give up, though, guys. Don't give up. Your dreams are too important. Your dreams are too important. Don't give up. And the bottom line is there is something powerful in you waiting to get out. There is something inside of you people are dying for. And they're like, I need that thing. But are you somebody who has the wherewithal, who has the mindset that sits there and says, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this thing in that person's hand? And you may not have met them, or you may have already met them. Who knows? But maybe you're supposed to write that book because there's somebody who's going to give their lives over to Jesus, or change their lives so dramatically and so dynamically that they're going to change thousands of people's lives because they read that book. Maybe you're supposed to be a coach, and people are like waiting on your wisdom. Whatever that thing is, guys, get out there and do it. Stop making excuses. And I love my buddy Andrew coming in here. My excuses are stupid. Yeah, mine are too. All of our excuses are stupid. Let's see what Alan says. Alan says, love the timer idea. How does that work if there's a disconnect just before bed and you don't want to go to bed with an argument? Man, that is a great question. That was going back to the boundary questions. I'm gonna take a minute to answer that. How do you do that without going to bed on an argument? You have to get to a place where your communication is so good between each other. So this takes practice to sit there and you actually get there and say, hey, I'd rather not go to bed with the feelings of anger. We may not resolve the problem, but I don't want to go to bed with the feelings, right? So what I want to do is let's come to a place where we're okay with each other, that we're not seething in anger, because anger not dealt with turns to bitterness. So let's not seethe in anger, but instead let's deal with the emotion. Let's deal with the rawness of it. So even if we can't solve the issue right now, we can deal with that part. And that may just be like, listen, I'm sorry for how I responded. I'm sorry for going after you. I'm sorry for my part in this, right? And then you say, if we need to table what to do, let's table what to do, as long as we are now connected emotionally back together. That's how I would do that. Michelle sits there and says, hey, angry people feel entitled to be miserable. Absolutely, they're totally entitled. But you know what it is? Misery loves company. So therefore, miserable, angry people love to bring you with them. So don't let people do it. Don't let people bring you with you. Miserable, angry people love company. Don't be their company. Let them do their own little fiddle. You know, that little violin, right? Let them have their own pity parties. I don't get invited to people's pity party. I'm not the person you want to invite to your pity party, because I'm going to say something that's going to hurt your feelings more, because I don't do pity. I don't do it. Let's see what else some of you guys said. Don't start trying, just do it. You know, I am a Star Wars nerd, And one of my favorite things is the fact that Yoda, there is no do or don't do there, or no try. There's only do, right? Get out there and do it. Nike also did that. I love that. Just do it. I love that. That's a great thing. Boom, no, no, no. Can't touch this. Yeah, look at him. Rick's going in there. Man, so grateful for you, Alan. So grateful. And let's see here. Sean, making excuses is a coping mechanism to keep you stifled right where you are. Yes, I love that. Almost as if you like it there. Here's the thing. So one of the things that you and I have to understand, and this is going to be really important when you're dealing with hurt. So that's a great place to be. And guys, let me say this on a side note, as you begin to type, your comments will show up on screen. So if you don't send some comments and stuff, you won't see them. So if you do it, you'll see that screen start to move. So here's the thing. So let's talk about this. People get stuck in a pattern. People get stuck in the pattern. Look at your patterns. For you guys who go to church, don't you go to church and sit in the same seat every week? Don't you go to the same aisles in the grocery store? You like the same parking spot? People are creatures of habit. And as creatures of habit, we like to stay in patterns. That includes if you're in a mess, you like to sit in the mess because you've been in the mess so long that you just don't know what it feels like to be out of your mess. So if you've been in it so long, it does stifle our growth because we want to stay there because we don't know what it feels like to be healed. We don't know what it feels like to be whole. So therefore, we're afraid of it. And because we're afraid of it, we don't want it. It's like we don't want what's right for us. We don't want the medicine because we're afraid of actually what it may do. And actually, that thing is getting us to a place of being healed. So that's a great point. And as Alan just said, excuses are programmed into our unconscious mind. Yeah, but you know what's the greatest thing? I'm a big Bible guy. So if you guys aren't a Bible guy, that's okay. We welcome you here too. I'm a big Bible guy. One of the Bible says actually in Proverbs, as a man thinks, so there he is, right? Or so he becomes. Now, man, and we can do gender neutral. There are persons thinks they become, right? So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Psychologically, this is proven in psychology, biblically, and all this, that you are who you think you are. So if you don't like who you are, you have to begin to change the way you think, right? You got to come up to a higher level. So if you don't like who you are, begin to think differently. Now that's easier said than done. And that could be a whole other live, which I think we may do. But here's the deal. If you don't like who you are, you need to think differently. And when you start thinking differently, you become different, right? So therefore, that's really what it comes down to. It is a programmed unconscious mind, but we can change that unconscious, subconscious mind in positive ways, but we've got to work on it. That's where it comes into that self-awareness piece. And Alan, like I said, we welcome all those, even if you don't go to church, we welcome every person on the stream. Everybody has value. Everybody brings value, and we honor the wisdom that you bring. So thank you for being here with us. So here's the thing. So let's go to the next one, which is going to be number 4. As we roll down on this hill, it's going to be overcome limiting beliefs. See how this rolls? And remember at the beginning of the stream, I said, just pick one. Just pick one, guys. One thing that you can apply. I don't want you to be smarter. I want you to be transformed. That's why I do these things, right? Here's the other thing. If you need help, reach out in my link in the comments. Guess what? You can schedule a 15-minute call for me and we can see if we can work together if you want me to be your coach, and I will help you apply these things. But here's the thing. You've got to overcome limiting beliefs. There are so many anchors in your life that's holding you down that you just are struggling to breathe because you're like, I just can't get over this. How many of you guys here, say this in the comments, guys. How many of you guys have ever said, I'm just not good enough, or I just don't have enough money, or I'm just not this, or I'm just so stupid, or this and this? How many of you guys have ever struggled with that, right? How many of you guys have ever struggled that? Because here's the bottom line. You are who you think you are, guys. And if you're living in limiting beliefs, if you're living in this place where you're like, I'm never going to be more than I am, it's because somebody hurt you so bad that you put an anchor. It's like the old mobster movies. I'm a big fan of the old mobster movies, guys. And the old mobster movies, you're like, yo, man, they swim with the fishes, right? They put the concrete blocks and they throw you in. You go swim with the fishes. And there's so many of us are like legit have concrete blocks on our feet because we're living in limiting beliefs, guys. We're living in this place where you and I are just the product of what we're thinking. We're the product of these places where I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not skinny enough. Nobody will listen to me. If this is your mantra in life, then you're never going to be over where you're supposed to and then actually walk into what God has for you. It's not going to happen because you're sitting there saying, I'll never be more than I am. And if you're never going to be more than you are, then your limiting beliefs are what drives your life. And that's the thing. Listen, the key here is the lies you believe about yourself is what's holding you back. So if you want to get over a limiting belief, if you want to get past this stuff, then you've got to be in a place where you have to realize, what lie have you believed? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. What lies have I believed? What lies have got in there? Because a lie told long enough and loud enough becomes your truth. End of story. It could be the lie, but if it's told loud enough and long enough, it is now your truth. That's how that rolls, guys. This is like been a proven thing to where I can change my life when I speak differently. Because when I speak differently, I'm speaking different truth, which enters in my ears, my head, which ultimately enters in my heart. And I'm going to tell you, whatever goes in your heart comes out your life. And whatever is coming out your life is how your life is set up. So if you're always speaking lies, if you're always making excuses, that's actually taking root in your heart. And guess what? That's how your life is going to be modeled. So if I want to get over or get past this, then I've got to change the way I speak, change the way I think, and get into a place where I'm speaking a better truth. I'm flipping the script so that my heart is now receiving something different and it's going to produce something different. And that's really what it comes down to, my friends. It really comes down to that. So let's go back to some of these things. Sean, 100% truth, man. Yeah, dude, love it, love it, love it. Here's Michelle. Sometimes people don't want to be healed because they're afraid that they're letting the offender go free. That's, you know what? That's a great point. I'm going to hit that for a second. Like they believe if they're better, the other person's got away with hurting them. Let me tell you this. This is one thing I want you to hear, all of you guys. And this is something I think we struggle with. And this is going to be later on. And I'm going to hit it now, but this is actually one of my, actually, that actually is a good segue because number 5 is forgive them. Right? That's a great segue. And I appreciate the fact that you put that in there, Michelle, because it's a great segue. Because here's the deal. Forgiving them ultimately says that they can no longer hold you hostage. I want you to hear that. Let me, I'm usually a very excitable guy, but this is something I want to lean in for a second with me, guys. Lean in with me here. We're so afraid. I'm going to put Michelle's comment back up here. We're so afraid that if we forgive somebody, that they're off the hook, that somehow we'll do it again or we'll let them do it again. We're not that dumb. If somebody's hurt you so bad, you're not going to let them do it again. I don't care how much you fear that, you're just not going to. Unless you're living in some sort of victim mentality and you keep being a doormat. If that's the case, then we need to have a different conversation. But the deal is that forgiving them just says, I'm not letting them off the hook. I'm declaring they can no longer hold me hostage. That's really what that comes down to. I'm declaring that that dude, that lady, that person, that church, whatever it is, can no longer hold me hostage. Because here's the deal. You're living in the emotion and they're sleeping good at night. Think about that. You're living in the emotion and they're sleeping good at night. So why don't you, for once, begin to say, I'm going to sleep good tonight. I'm going to let them go because that's what I want in my life. And it's not about they're going to, them getting away with it. Guess what? Forgiveness just means I release them from a debt that I think they owe you, that they owe me. They owe me nothing. Now, if you're somebody who really wants them to apologize, you may never get an apology and you may live in unforgiveness for the rest of your life. But when you realize that people don't owe you anything, hurting people hurt the people. There's some people out there that are just absolute jerks and they're never going to come and ask for forgiveness. And it's just all that stuff. But when you work through that and you say, you know what, my forgiving them has nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. And I don't even need to tell them. My gosh, guys, here's something really, really important. If you forgive somebody, you don't even need to tell them you forgave them. You get that? You don't even need to tell them. You don't even need to get out there and sit there and say, I've forgiven you, thus thou go free. No, who are you kidding? There are people in my life that I haven't seen in 40 years that brought some craziness in my life and then walked out on us, right? And I forgave them, But I don't mean I have to go talk to him. It doesn't mean I have to build a relationship with him. It doesn't mean anything. I don't have to invite him back in my life. He'll probably never know I forgave him unless he watched this live stream. But the end of the story is, just because I forgive you does not mean you get a free pass back into my life. And that's where boundaries come in. And that's where all of those things that I've been showing you guys for the 40 minutes we've been having these conversations, that's where this plays out. Because when that begins to say, you know what, I'm releasing you from the debt. I'm saying it's okay. You don't owe me anything, but I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to prioritize me, right? If I prioritize me, that means I don't need you in my life anymore because you cause too much pain and you're too toxic and I need you to get out, right? They're okay with doing things like that. You just got to be strong enough to be okay with it. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to have somebody hurt you and keep hurting you. And abuse is never okay. Okay, guys, abuse is never okay. So if you're in an abusive situation and you're staying in it, we need to have a deeper conversation, and you and I need to have a phone call on how to get you out of that situation, because abuse is never okay. All right. And I want you guys to hear that. But even an abuser, and I'm going to say something really controversial here that I think can be controversial, is even an abuser, you can forgive an abuser so that they don't hold you emotionally hostage. They don't hold you mentally hostage, because these people are taking space. They're living rent free in your head. They're living rent free in your heart. It's time to let them go and be done with them. And you never have to talk to them again. You never have to see them again, but you've got to let them go and be like, yo, I forgive you, but that doesn't mean I let you back in. Right. And an abuser, a person, it doesn't matter. You, my friend, you need to let it go, because it's holding you back. It's what's hurting you. It's what's keeping you locked down in a previous state. You want to go up to higher levels. Guess what? You can't soar with the eagles when you're carrying dead weight. Drop the dead weight. And I don't want to be that guy who's like so like cut black and white. But I'm gonna tell you, an abuser, cut it. That's black and white. Some other people, they just hurt people, and you've got to do a case by case basis on who you let go and who you keep, who you want to work out with, who you don't want to work out with. But at the end of the day, you've got to be the one to make the decision on who gets to be in your life, who gets to be part of your life. But at the bottom line, everybody in your life gets forgiveness. Everybody in your life gets forgiveness, but not everybody needs to be in my life. And I can't stress that enough, guys. I can't stress that enough. Guys, we do this for all you guys who are new. We do this every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just go over to YouTube, like, subscribe to the channel, because here's the dude. Like in Facebook, like this video. Actually, hit the like button on this video. Helps out the algorithm, helps me out. Hit the like says, and don't go away yet, because I got one bonus thing I want to share with you. But hit the like button on this video, helps the algorithm. Subscribe, hit notification. I do put a weekly video out every week. It's about 5 to 7 minutes on how to do leadership. This upcoming video coming this week is called Get in the Zone. You're going to want to see it. But without further ado, I do answer every question on live as I can see them. And I don't get to all of them, but when I do, we do it. And I'm Jim, the Everyday Leader. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the family. And I hope you make time to hang out with me every week. Here's the one thing before I go into your bonus. I want to tell you this is simply, if you have any time you ever want to shoot me a message and ask questions, please. I love making shows around people who have needs. This show was completely developed out of a conversation I had last night with one of the people I coach. And we talked about this, and I said, you know what, let's make a show, because this is something everybody's dealing with. So I do make shows out of this. So here's your bonus. You ready for your bonus? Let's hit up the bonus. Bonus is connect to your identity. Connect to your identity, guys. Let me give you the key. You define you. They don't define you. Okay? But connect to your identity. You define you. They do not define you. I think we spent way too long in a place where we allow other people to define us. We allow other people to get to a place where we say, you get to decide who I am. Are you kidding me? Nobody gets to decide who you are. That is your job only. Now, if you want to ask people's opinion, by all means, ask them their opinion, but they better be in your inner circle, and they better have your best interests at heart, because if you ask them for their opinion in this matter, they're going to tell you, and it may hurt you. But here's the deal. You get to define who you are. If you want to be more loving, then be more loving. If you want to be more generous, be more generous. If you want to love Jesus more, love Jesus more. If you don't want to love Jesus, don't love Jesus. You get to define who you are and how you live your life. Nobody else on this planet gets to do that. Not one single soul gets to do that, okay? So I want you to understand that. And I think so long, and I said this earlier in this message, that we give our power away because we live under the influence of people who are hurting us. Take it back. Understand that I get to define me, not them. But I want you to understand, oh my gosh, guys, here, let me say this. As we roll down, let me say this, is who are you? Have you ever answered that question? Have you ever come to a place where you said, who am I? And actually did the hard work of figuring that out? Who am I now? And who do I want to become? And I'm going to tell you, the greatest growth you'll ever have is when you transition the journey from who I am now to who I want to become, right? That's what it's about. You get to define you. Nobody else defines you. Nobody else, guys. Nobody else. So, guys, I love it. So I want to journey with you. I want to journey with you each and every week. So, guys, I'm going to tell you, we do this again every week, Friday at 5. Friday at 5. Remember, put that in your calendars. Friday at 5. We've got another leadership lesson, leadership training, leadership interaction, leadership networking every Friday at 5 on this channel every single week. Because we're here for you. It's about leadership development. It's about everyday leaders like you, the entrepreneur, the business owner, the small business owner, the father, the ministry leader, all you guys, in order to pour leadership. Because I believe leadership is the number one thing in this world that changes this world. Right? The better leader you are, the better leader you become, the better everybody is going to be around you. Because influence is power. And the more I'm developed as a leader, the more power I have to transform a life. Right? So here's the bottom line, guys. You can't even see that one. Look, we're going to do this. I like this thing. So I like the little play. So look, in the descriptions down below, if you're on Facebook, it's already in the caption. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be after I'm done the live. It's actually going to be in the description box on the channel, because I keep these lives up. And what it is I want to give you a guide. It's called Own 2020. And what this is just basically a free guide for you. I created it to help you map out your entire 2021. And the reason I'm letting it go February 5th and I waited is because it's been statistically proven that 92% of you who made a New Year's resolution have failed to complete your resolution and have already quit by the 28th of last month. You've quit your resolution, right? So here's the deal. I want you to be able to grab a hold of this, because from February to December, I want you to be looking back on 2021 and say, this was my year. So if you go to the description box, it's already set up for you. And even when you get your free thing, you can actually schedule a call with me. It's a 15-minute call to be able to hang out, talk, and let me help you do your next step, whether it is to be how I can work with you or find a way on how help you get beyond where you are and move into being a leader worth following. Guys, I love each and every one of you guys. And let me shut this off. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You've been hanging out with the Everyday Leader live show. And before I go, I'm going to ask this one last thing because it is coming up in the hour, and I want to give you the honor of honoring your time. Is if there's any last minute questions, I will answer them quite quickly. And if not, then we're going to call that an evening. I'm going to say how much I love you guys, and I'll see you again next week. So much love. Let's see here. Get some of your things here. I've learned that the most godlike thing to do is forgive. Absolutely. And then of course, Michelle up here. And I think she said this. Yep. We already talked about that. We're good, guys. All right. Much love. We will be talking again soon. Remember, I drop a video each and every week. You'll see those on Mondays, 5 to 7 minute videos. And then on every Friday, we hit out about an hour live each week around topics that are going to help you be a better leader and become a leader worth following. Guys, much love. I can't tell you how much I love you guys, because you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. We need like a cool catch name for our tribe. We need to figure one of those out. Guys, talk to you.